Gina claims to have never received any money from the Jacksons and denies ever having slept with Joseph. Now, I don't know about that. That might be a goddamn lie. Well, hello, y'all. It's Nay here. We still working on this book. What's the name of this book, y'all? We still working on this damn book. It's a mother hunchy. It's full of havoc and melee. We still working on it. And we still got a bunch of more crap to do. Okay? But while you listening, open up another window and go on over there to uptopbeauty.com and check out these JT RZA shades, y'all. Hey, we ain't got no money left. Okay, I can dig it because I ain't got no money left either. That's why the hell I say go on over there to uptopbeauty.com and check something out over there. Okay. Now, let's get back to Jackson Family Values, Memories of Madness by Margaret, who we lovingly call Peggy, Maldonado, not a Jackson. Michael had given Jermaine a roof over his head and picked up the expenses for the entire family. He did it gladly. He also allowed us the opportunity to televise the family's life story. It had been sold to ABC mainly on the strength of the Michael Jackson name. When Michael left, the last thing he did was give Jermaine the direct line to his trailer at the location where he was shooting his next video. He wanted Jermaine to call him and tell him that he had decided not to release the song nationwide as a single. I begged Jermaine to call his brother and end the entire fiasco. I couldn't get Jermaine to believe how stupid he was being. Hell no, Jermaine shouted at me. This is what Michael needs. He needs someone like me to put some fire under his ass. To let him know that he's not the only one around here who can create some heat. He's just scared because he knows that I'm going to happen this time. He'd better watch out for his brother Jermaine. No, he's not scared because he's threatened by your talent. No, he's not scared about that. He know what the hell them moonwalkers is full of. You don't want it with them moonwalkers. Them moonwalkers don't give a shiz about what his reputation is out there in them streets. Them moonwalkers will climb down on you. And this is before the internet. Them moonwalkers are deep. Before the barbs. Before the winos. Before the I don't know who else y'all got to put down below. The fans that is, crazy. It was the moonwalkers. And them bitches don't play about their Michael. Jermaine never called Michael. Later in the day, the telephone rang, and when I answered it, Michael was on the other end of the line. He asked to speak to Jermaine, who told me to tell Michael that he wasn't around. The nigga that pay your bills? Michael could only let his brother dig his own grave. He didn't try to retaliate legally or any other way. As it turned out, he didn't have to. Clive Davis. Diablo. Clive Davis at Arista was not about to allow Word to the Bad on an album if it included lyrics demeaning to a superstar like Michael Jackson. Good move, Diablo. Word to the Bad ended up on the album You Said, but with a totally different theme. This time the lyrics were about the relationship between Jackie and Paula Abdul. The original version was briefly released but turned out to be more of a novelty than a bestseller and was quickly withdrawn. Somehow I knew I was going to be blamed for the whole debacle. The spouses always took the heat from the family for whatever was happening. When LaToya messed up, it was all Jack Gordon's fault. When Marlon stopped coming around, the family blamed Carl for putting a voodoo curse on him. No, that wasn't it. Carl was the troublemaking hoe. When Jermaine and Hazel got into money trouble, it was Hazel's fault. And Hazel got money. Her father to Barry Gordy. When Tito started cheating on Dee Dee, it was Dee Dee's fault because Dee Dee wasn't effing her husband. Well, Dee Dee, you could have called me, girl. I would have hunched your husband for you, girl. Was I old enough to be hunching, Tito? I don't know, but girl, you could have called me, girl. I would have did that for you. I didn't find out until later that Katherine blamed me for the song, even though she knew I had nothing whatsoever to do with it. The word to the bad situation came and went quickly, leaving a horrible taste in the mouth of Jermaine's fans, who couldn't understand why he would turn against his brother. His You Said album got lost in the dust of Michael's Dangerous album. We were just politely cohabiting. After the gonorrhea episode in Atlanta, I had difficulty maintaining an active sex life with JJ. Peggy was like this, wait a minute, nigga. You done gave me the clapper before. How do I know that you ain't gonna give me the clapper and or something else again, like the herpes? Okay? Yeah. So I don't know. You're welcome for the information. 1 in every 5 American has the herpes, and 1 out of every 2 African Americans has the herpes. African Americans, we need to take that for serious. That's a concern to me. Okay? But I'm just saying, I will be right with her. You gave me the clapper. What's next, brother? I began to value my relationship with Katherine more than the one I had with her son. I wanted to see her as a solid and centered rock to which we all clung. Nothing fazed her or was beyond her wisdom. About this time, another family tragedy struck. Jackie had been dating a wealthy woman named Shadow. Y'all, this knocked me out. I'm going to read this straight through because this ain't even funny, okay? But that Jackson dick may be vicious. It was a volatile relationship that ultimately ended when, after an argument with Jackie, Shadow took a large quantity of sleeping pills and died. We were shocked by her death and felt worse when we learned that Jackie's son, Siggy, discovered the body the following day. As we began to work full-time on the miniseries, I heard more of Katherine's family stories. She had released her own book about the family called The Jacksons, My Family, written with Richard Wiseman. In it, she glossed over many of the stories that she now seemed only too eager to tell me. Okay, pause. Remember how y'all be in the comments like, Katherine got a book? I don't give a fuck if Katherine got a book. I knew that Katherine wasn't about to give us Nathan, okay? This, the baby mammy who done gave us all the real tea, just said she glossed over everything. So y'all can keep that book. Don't send that to my P.O. box. I want no parts of that bullshit. In it, she glossed over many of the stories that she now seemed only too eager to tell me. Some were enlightening, some were petty. None, however, had the impact of the Gina Sprague story. Although we were trying to be truthful in the script, this was one story we decided not to put on the small screen. Gina Sprague's involvement with the Jackson family began when she started working as a receptionist in Joseph's management office on Sunset Boulevard in the same high-rise building that housed Motown Records. Child, we know about this from LaToya's book. But LaToya's version, like I told you, that LaToya book that was supposed to be, such a big deal, girl, that shit ain't Nathan compared to the seeds of oats and wisdom that Peggy gives us. Okay, I'll continue. It was late 1979, and she was 19 years old. A year later, Gina's job would come to an end in dramatic fashion at the hands of Katherine. Gina was a dancer who had attracted Joseph's eye while she was performing with the Jeff Kudash dance troupe. She gained an entry into show business by winning a contest on the TV show American Bandstand in 1978. Okay, we got more information about this lady. We need to find her. We need to find the 1978 American Bandstand dance-off so we can see what this little girl looked like. For years, Katherine had been tolerant of Joseph's wandering eye. Joseph flaunted his girlfriends in front of his sons when they performed on the road as the Jackson 5, but never in front of Katherine. So for Katherine, it was out of sight, out of mind. Gina Sprague was different. Although she never admitted to having a sexual relationship with Joseph, Gina made the mistake of insinuating herself into Katherine's home life. She would call Havenhurst, we lovingly call Cirque du Soleil, because that's what the hell it is. She would call Cirque du Soleil frequently to talk with Joseph, and more often than not, Katherine would pick up the phone. Gina said the calls were business. Katherine knew they were personal. Katherine had always told me that a wife knows when another woman is sleeping with her husband, and she knew Gina was sleeping with Joseph. Joseph made no secret of his fondness for the slim, attractive girl. Joseph even took Gina to meet Cheryl Terrell. You know who that is. That's Giovanni's mammy. Joseph, why you taking this teenager around there to meet your baby mammy outside your marriage? Girl. In short order, Gina was promoted to Joseph's personal assistant and was responsible for a variety of tasks, including keeping Joe Jackson happy. Gina's flaunting of her relationship with Joseph ended up being more than Katherine could take. On October 15th, 1980, Katherine phoned Gina to tell her to clean out her desk and get out of their lives. Get out, or I'm going to get you, Katherine is supposed to have screamed. The next day, Katherine went to Joe Jackson Productions on Sunset Boulevard to make certain Gina knew she meant business. She was not alone. She had brought backup in the form of Janet, then age 14, and Randy, then 18. They meant business as well. Let me tell you something, Katherine, I done lost mad respect because now you done got your teenagers involved in the bullshit. Now, I'm glad that Janet got hands, okay? I haven't read forward yet. We'll see. I'm glad the fact that she's so young and, ready for that action, okay? Because all that means is that she's going to grow up to be a very strong young lady. Now, 50-year-old mama. But Katherine involving her children in this melee is telling to me. And how it unfolds explains a lot. You know Randy is crazy. So you're going to bring the youngest two children with you for this foolery? When Katherine entered the office, Janet grabbed Gina's wrist to hold her in place. Katherine attacked Gina, pulling her hair and screaming, "I told you I was going to get you, bitch." Yeah, that's not what LaToya said. Okay, but matter of fact, I think LaToya said that it was Randy and one of his girlfriends. And knowing that Randy is only 18 years old, why the hell would you bring your child there? Now the little girl only 19. Gina, the little girl's only 19 now, but still. And your child, Janet, is 14. There are several versions of this story, but all of them end the same way. Randy knocked Gina to the ground, and all three dragged the woman from the office, beating her about the face and head. As Gina limped back into the office, Joseph, who had been in a meeting, was stunned to see her dress torn, her face bruised. An ambulance arrived, summoned by the building security guard. Gina was rushed to Hollywood Presbyterian Medical Center, where she was treated for cuts and bruises to her head and face. She was released the following day. When Michael heard the story, he refused to believe a word of it. Even now, there is nothing that could convince him that it took place. Yet, it's a story that Katherine told freely as we sat on our favorite chairs on the landing at the top of the stairs. Randy and Janet and I went to his office and I beat her, Katherine readily admitted. I think there's a charge for that. It's called contributing to the delinquency of a You bring your 18-year-old son there to fight a woman and catch an assault in the second-degree charge. Niggerdom. Gina Sprague sued Katherine, Joseph, Randy, and Janet for $21 million and was effectively blackballed in the close-knit entertainment community. The lawsuit was eventually settled out of court. To this day, Gina claims to have never received any money from the Jacksons and denies ever having slept with Joseph. Now, I don't know about that, girl. That might be a goddamn lie. That might be a goddamn lie. She is quoted as having a message for Katherine, however. If I could talk to Mrs. Jackson right now, I'd tell her the next time her husband is coochieing some other woman, hit him, not the other woman. And throw on top of that, don't bring your underage daughter to the event when you decide to kick her ass. Gina's sentiments have been echoed many times before, and since outside of the Jackson family, no matter the problem or the consequence, the Jacksons were always the innocents. With Jermaine's recording career at a standstill, he had announced he wasn't content with being an artist any longer. Child, he wanted to be a producer. Okay, I mean, I got it. I can dig it. All right. I mean, because you know, when the rappers get finished rapping, they always want to go to the acting. Okay, I mean, I get it. He was continuing to fly to New Jersey for meetings with Bob Petralia, whose ideas for the Jackson Communication Inc., JCI, were growing even larger. I always thought that you have to crawl before you can walk, so I didn't believe anything Bob Petralia promised to deliver, and he never did deliver anything. At the time, however, Jermaine needed to feel like a big shot, and being head of a corporation seemed to allow him that. Bob Petralia had asked Jermaine and me to fly to Switzerland, where he said JCI was the acquisition stage, his favorite phrase, of buying a television station. As I was packing for the trip, I learned we would be taking one additional person along for the ride. Leah Bongo. Y'all better stay tuned, because this Leah Bongo shit go!